Actually, it's not even that sour. You missed this part, Mom.
It did work. Okay, so what we're going to do is attach that. Now you see there's a belt. That belt is driven by that motor, and it runs around in a circle. And what it does is actually just draws charge up from the earth. Many of you have probably done this before. Your mom, your dad has finished doing the laundry, and you've touched something, you've gotten a little bit of a shock off of it, right? That shock is just charge. This is static charge, unlike the flowing charge. Why are all you children eating these lemons? Bizarre. If you take a look here,
I just got shocked.
inside of this is just a little cone. It's a little metal cone. So weird. And as this belt rolls around, it pulls charges up to the ground. They're grabbed by that cone, and that cone distributes them over top of this. Now, typically, there's pieces of paper stuck to the top of this. But as we can tell, Uncle Orbax is a little bit hungover this morning, so most of my peers have fallen off. We're going to start this up so that we can see what those charges actually do. The charges are drawn up from the bottom. They run across, go all the way to the top, run across, go all the way to the top, and
I heard someone yelling. That was so cool, dude.
now, as you see, on top of there is just pieces of paper. We've ripped charges out of the bottom and stuck them in that piece of paper. Now, there's a fundamental thing called Coulomb's law. And Coulomb's law talks about the force that's exerted by charges. What happens when we have two like charges, the same kind of charge? Do they attract or they push away? They push away, that's right. It's like MC Scat Cat said in the Paula Abdul video. Opposites attract. And so as a result, the same types of charges push away from each other. And we put those charges into those pieces of paper, and they're pushing away. And as soon as I touch it here, we ground it and they go away from there. Now, Sweet Pepper Club has their pie tins that I picked up on my way here from a place called Dollarama, because I forgot those normal ones that we usually use. And we're going to place this on top. We're going to run charges through there. We're going to jam them in here, and then we have like charges again, all stuck in these little pie tins. What do you think was going to happen as soon as we turn this on? What will happen to these pie tins? We have somebody said over here that said levitate. What do you think? You think they're going to shoot off and fly off? Anybody else? Yes?
I also think they're going to shoot off.
Fantastic. Okay, we have confirmation on shooting off. So, we will see what happens here. We're going to turn this on. We're going to jam this full of charge. And we're going to remember to not hold the live microphone while we're plugging this in. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen. Now they flew off. Now, I realize to a lot of you that's probably not super impressive, but what we did was we legitimately created wind just with charge. Like charges were strong enough to push against each other to make those fly out and actually overcome the force of gravity. That's what's happening to Rocco every single day of his life. Why his knees don't work, why his body and face are sagging down constantly. That force of gravity is quickly overcome by that force of electricity. Now, many of you, stop training your children to eat these lemons! Now, you might have seen this before on your device or on the internet. You've probably seen a thing where we take people take a child and they put their hand on the Van de Graaff generator and their hair sticks up and it's wild. Now, I don't have what they call a concern for safety. However, our insurance doesn't cover children to put their hands on this. So I would like to take an adult, because honestly, I don't care about them. Is there anybody here who would have suitable hair to stand up? Take it, Dad. I believe he's got what they call terribly greasy and unclean hair. Is there anybody else who maybe would? I mean, your hair probably would legitimately be perfect. Would you like to volunteer and be a young junior scientist? Let's give him a round of applause. Come on up here. Oh, what's your name, junior scientist?
Chris.
Chris? Ladies and gentlemen, on the count of 3, we're going to give Chris a big science. 1, 2, 3! Science! Now, Chris, what grade are you in? 13. Fantastic. Chris, you walk over there towards Sweet Pepper Club, and be careful, he's got a bad back. Take a step. Now, I want you to stand on top of this piece of foam. Perfect. Chris, you don't have any rings on. Good. Necklaces. Yeah, that's probably going to be terrible, but it's okay. I'm over here. What I need to do is 2 things. So, I need you to take your left hand. You just place it right on top of this. Okay? Place it there. Now, here's the thing. If you're uncomfortable in any way and you want to stop, just let me know. We can stop. But you can't remove your hand. If you take your hand off, you'll possibly get a shock. If you step off of the foam, you'll possibly get a shock. So, if you want to stop, just tell me to stop and we'll stop, but don't remove your hand. Don't step off on that foam. Now, oh yeah, look at that hair. Amazing. Now, we're going to plug that in, we're going to make this happen. Now, here's the thing, kids. What we're going to do is we're going to take charges. We're going to rip him up out of the ground. We're going to put him in that ball. We're going to shove him across his arm, into his face, into his head, put him in his hair. And we should see it stand up, not unlike those little pie tins that flew everywhere. Chris, we have done this experiment 15 times. And I'll be goddamned if we lose a 16th child. So Chris, here we go. We'll see how this works. I honestly don't know. Don't move your hand. And here we go. On the count of 3. 1, we've started. Okay, so, Chris, give your hair a little shake. While it's coming up a little bit, give it a little bit more of a shake. Don't get crazy. That's actually pretty good. You know, a front and a back, like you just stepped out of a salon. Amazing. Now, hold on. Don't let go. As you see, Chris's hair is stuck up there and it's dropping down a little bit. But if I turn it back on, it goes up a little bit. And wait, see it goes down. And then it goes up a little bit. Now, hold on, watch his hair. Watch his hair. Watch his hair. Watch his hair.
This is gonna
watch
be
his
amazing,
hair.
I know it.
No, that's it. Thanks, Chris. Oh. Let's give him a big round of applause. Honestly, the safest way that could have occurred. Give Chris a big round of applause. Fantastic junior scientist helping us out all the way in grade 13 now. Amazing. They're growing big down here. Now, what else have we got, Pepper? How are we doing? What's our time like? Oh, we got like 15 minutes.
Perfect. So,
Do you want to do,
I say we do that.
yeah? Okay, cool.
We don't want to go over time.
We don't want to go over time. We were admonished last night that we apparently ran too long. What's your name, junior scientist? Rocky? What do you think about all of this so far? I like to hear that, Rocky. It's good. Positive reinforcement for me as an educator. I like to understand that. Now, Rocky, we showed you static charge there with Chris. What we've got here is something that we like to apply to something called current charge. Now, current charge is very similar. Oh, I didn't even get your name before. What's your name?
I'm Curtis.
Curtis, current charge, Curtis knows. He discussed it earlier with the lemons. Current charge is what happens when you actually move particles and transmit them. You see, with a static charge, that's how a battery works. You take charges, you pull them up out of the ground, you stick them in a tube, and you can access them later. With alternating current, instead of direct current, what you end up with is an ability to move that charge over a long distance. Now, probably move that over to there, and we'll start with this one. Okay, fantastic. My back hurts. I can't move that. Thank you. So, what we've got here is what's called a Tesla coil. Nikola Tesla was a scientist who lived in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He's responsible for the way that we get electricity these days all the way from Niagara Falls. Electromagnetism is joined together. Electricity and magnets are a combination. Nikola Tesla suffered from a disease called synesthesia. Synesthesia ended up basically cross-linking his brain. So when he thought of numbers, he would see in colors. When he thought of devices, he would hear music. And it linked across his brain in a strange way, so instead he would have seizures. One point, when he woke up from a seizure, he was able to sketch out the design for an AC motor in the ground. Now the AC motor, or the AC electrical motor, is basically how this world works. So you have a car, Curtis. Probably not a nice one, but you have a car. You put gas in the engine, the wheels turn. But when you push that car, the wheels turn and gas doesn't come out. In an AC motor, you have electricity. You put electricity in, and it spins inside of a coil because of a magnet. But if you spin that coil inside a magnet, electricity actually comes back out of it. And this is the interesting thing about E&M and electricity magnetism. This is a transformer. Now, many of you, I'm sure, are understanding of the idea of transformers. You can write your own jokes about Rodimus Prime and how Hot Rod took the Allspark to become the Optimus Prime. However, this couples with the frequency that's involved. If we take this and actually plug it in, we can take the 110 volts that come out of the wall and turn them into 250,000 volts. Now, this 250,000 volts is basically 1/12 of what a bolt of lightning would be. Jake, turn off the lights! As you can see, lights back on. As you can see, we have that electricity. Now, so that purple isn't the electricity. That purple is actually something called ozone. Now, some of you might be able to smell it. Do you smell it? Can you smell a little bit, Rocky, of like how it smells different?
All I can smell is
When you burn wood, you create smoke. However, that purple is burned air. When you burn air, you generate ozone. And that's what you can smell when there's a thunderstorm and it kind of rolls across. It smells a little bit like sulfur. Now, this is also interesting because not only does it create high voltage electricity, it also generates high frequency radio waves. Jake, the lights! As you can see, the fluorescent tube will turn off and on with the electricity itself, and there's a range over here. And the closer he gets, it comes on. Now, this is just like a text message. So when you use a phone, you write a text message, your phone turns it into infrared waves, just like the waves that we saw earlier with that spring, and transmits them across a great distance that it reinterprets as a text. Here, we take a wave, it transmits over a great distance, and actually turns back into the energy of light that we have here. Now, it will work directly if you just touch it to the edge of it. You can light the entire bulb. However, even more important is that today, here at the Ramada, I will take this bulb, I will shove it deep inside my lab assistant. He will place his arm close enough to the coil to allow lightning to blast through him, and we will light this bulb. Now, typically this is not done this close to children. However, today is Schlock. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a camera, now might be the appropriate time to take a photo. And on the count of 3, we're going to give our young scientist here the biggest science that he's ever had in his career to make it worth it. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Science! Let's hear it for Sweet Get the lights. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot explain to you enough to not try that at home. However, if you can afford a Tesla coil, go ahead. Now, we have got one last thing to do here. And then we'll be done on precious time. Oh yeah, so what we're going to do next makes a great big bang, big noise. So if you don't like noises, or if perhaps you have a puppy who's in the room somewhere, you might want to put it to the outside or take care of it. It's going to be really loud. However, sometimes science is loud, and sometimes science is right, and sometimes science is wrong. But the great thing about science is it doesn't care whether you're right or wrong. we all have ideas. We put those ideas forward, and then we experiment with them to try to find out what happens. Science just reinforces that. And the great thing about it is that you can continue forward, and whether you're right or wrong, you just learn from it and move on from that. So, we're going to do an experiment. I would recommend that anybody down here moves.
Yes.
Go back there. What we have here is a bucket. What we got? And we need water. Jake!
I got a little bit.
Can, do we have water? Okay. And Jake's going to get water. So, what we have over here is something called liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen is a gas that exists in the atmosphere. This is the coldest gas that can ever exist because it's been solidified into a liquid, or liquefied into a liquid. Now, liquid nitrogen is at a temperature of about minus 260 degrees. It is almost so cold that there's no atomic movement whatsoever. What we do is we're going to take this, we're going to place it inside a bottle of President's Choice Raspberry Mist. Ooh. This gas, when it becomes a gas from a liquid, will expand over 7 times. That 7 times expansion should be enough to rupture this bottle. It will split it and explode in here. Now, we're going to take this garbage pail and put it on top so that the explosion doesn't come out and hit any of us. However, it might actually make this shoot up into the sky, not unlike a rocket directly under. I assume that's a sensor of some kind. Do it over on that side.
Yeah, string.
All right, we're doing a string. Fine. Who cares? Yeah. As I said, science doesn't care about your stupid Ramada London. And neither do we. So, we're going to take this and fill it up. There's Jake with some water. Amazing, thank you, sir. Great. All right, so. Place it there. No, we're going to use the water as a heat exchanger. The water allows the gas to expand much faster. We're going to place it here. We're going to dump this in. We are going to, well, people keep telling me about this important thing. Safety first. Okay, so I don't want this to get all wrecked. Place it over here. All right. Coming up next, Which Finger Podcast. Make sure you stick around. We're going to fill this. It's going to explode. It's going to make a big noise. And it's going to blow this hopefully up and not strike the ceiling. Each one of us is going to take one cryogenic glove because we make shock stock money and we can't afford a set for each of us. There is also no timeline on when this detonates. So it will just go off, maybe quick, maybe slow. Are you kids ready for some science? Yeah! On 3, 1, 2, 3, science! Here we go. Watch out! Science.
Science.
Shock stock.
Yeah.
A volcano?
Okay. We're going to put this in to tighten this up. Hold on. We're going to flip this over. Ow. The goggles didn't do anything.
You can get
onto
your
that
goggles on again.
Rope.
For swimming.
Wait, that's not the loop. That's just all the science. All right, jump.
I know how to swim.
So like I said, we don't necessarily know when this happens, but it will happen.
In the big world,
Really should have happened by now.
Oh my God!
Science!
She blinded me.
Science. Science. It's doing. Yeah, it's a bit. Look at the bit.
Right, so we might be at a point where nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, our Orbax and Pepper. Everything science. Thank you, kids. We're going to be out in the science area. We'll take some pictures with you. We'll got books for sale, whatnot. More importantly, stay in school. We'll see you soon. What up?
Oh my God! Look at the ice.
Yeah. It froze the water. Thanks.
I want
That's good. Nice and loud. High fives, everybody.
That
Up top.
was really
Oh,
loud.
come on! All right, bring it in.
Yeah, we'll give you some of this.
That was really loud, even though
Oh, those are from the Schlock.
my ears were really
They have their own.
It's super loud, huh?
It was not. It was
Pretty loud.
I think I and my brothers. I want to have marshmallows.
the boys are gonna go to Tim Hortons.
I don't know why I want to.
Yeah, let's do it. Photo Pepper.
Oh yes.
Excuse me. Nice. All right. All right.
Get the stuff out of here.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, the ring's missing, that's why. There's a little ring there that was causing all that problem. I didn't realize. Oh well.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going, buddy? It is. It's fun.
Yeah, just a little.
Last week this morning I was like, Orbax and Pepper the carrier.
Kind of move some of the stuff around.
So we're just right out there. Where are we going? Like shirts and stuff? You want me to set it up for you? Oh, sure, if you want. Yeah. That's just in here?